Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Garde podcast. My name is Clare, a freshman at Corning Painted Poets High School. In this podcast, I am going to be talking about the swords in fencing used today. Today, I am going to be talking about one of those types of swords, the foil. Then I am going to be interviewing Noelle, a foil fencer with 4 years of experience. Modern fencing dates from the late 15th century when civilians began carrying swords for the first time. Their weapon of choice was the rapier, which was essentially a thrusting rather than a cutting sword, something that could be used to settle matters relatively quickly. It was introduced in Spain and then Italy before spreading across the rest of Europe and then across the world. But during the first half of the 17th century, fashions changed and the long cumbersome rapier gradually became obsolete. By the mid-17th century, the rapier had been replaced in France by the lighter and more maneuverable small sword, the foil. The foil being used as a weapon for sport is more recent. The foil was used in France as a training weapon in the middle of the 18th century in order to practice fast and elegant thrust fencing. People also used the foil as a sharp dueling sword. Fencers blunted the point for training by wrapping a foil around the blade or fastening a knob on the point, which was, in French, fleuret, meaning blossom, thus earning the name foil. There are two handles used while fencing foil, the French grip and the pistol grip. The French grip is a stick used for defense. The pistol grip, as its name implies, is shaped like a gun and is held like a pistol. This grip is used for offense. The French grip is generally longer and gives the fencer a longer reach, thus making it good for defense. The pistol grip is quite short, doesn't give much defense as the French grip does, so it is used for people who like doing offense more and like to get in the game. The guard of the foil is shaped like a crescent, giving a little protection for the hand. The blade is lightweight and flexible, providing an increase of the speed of movement. The target area is the torso, the groin, and a small area of the mask called the bib. Previously, the whole body was targeted, but due to modernization, it is now limited down to these areas. Scoring is governed by the rules of priority, also known as right-of-way, where the attacker's blade had to be parried before the defender could make a riposte or launch his own attack. For me, I started off with foil at 171 Cedar Art Center in Corning. It was tricky for me at the start since the target was so centered on the body. Got a lot of off-target touches because I kept hitting out at a target area. We had to hit with the tip and not the flat of the blade. And my accuracy was not good at all, let's just say that. The coach that I had was great, and unfortunately, he is not teaching there anymore. The coach we have right now is good, thankfully. It's very nice to have him, though. Now that you've all listened to me gab, now it is time for a quiz. Let's see if you guys were listening. Before we get into the interview, we are going to have a quiz on everything I just talked about. The questions are going to be multiple choice, A through C. One is going to be a true or false question, but it is your job to answer those questions. Try to not go back through the podcast to get the answers. There are 8 questions, and you have 15 seconds to answer each one. Now, let us begin this quiz. Question number 1. Where were swords first introduced? A. Italy. B. Spain. C. France. D. China. If you chose B, you are correct. Evidence of swords in Spain went as far back as the 5th century before Christ. Italy was the second place they were introduced, and they spread to the rest of Europe. Question number 2. When was modern fencing introduced? A. The 15th century. B. The 16th century. C. The 17th century. Or D. The 18th century. If you chose A, you are correct. Modern fencing was introduced in the 15th century, and technology and tactics changed throughout the centuries. Question number 3. What sword was used for training for fast and elegant thrusting in France? A. The foil. B. The épée. C. The saber. And D. The gladius. If you chose A, you are correct. The foil was used as a training sword in France. The gladius is a Roman sword used for close quarter combat. Question number 4. What target area is used for foil? A. Everything. B. The torso and neck, or the bib. C. The torso. D. Everything from the waist up. If you chose B, you are correct. The torso and the neck are the target areas used today for foil. Foil used to have everything as a target, but because of modernization, it has been limited down. Number 5. Why is the foil called the foil? A. It's made up of aluminum foil. B. It's used to foil with opponents. C. The tip was wrapped in foil to be blunted. D. The blade has the same density as aluminum foil. If you chose C, you are correct. The tip was wrapped in foil to be blunted for training in France. Number 6. There are no rules of right-of-way, true or false? It is false. The rules of right-of-way are important to remember when fencing foil. Number 7. How does the rule of wide awake work? A. Anyone can attack at any time. B. If someone argues that they got the touch better with evidence, they will get a point. C. If someone is on the defense, they have to parry before making an attack. D. Each fencer takes turns of attacking like chess until someone gives up or they are stabbed a certain amount of times. If you chose C, you are correct. Even though fencing is like physical chess, the opponent on the defense has to parry or block and make an attack before they're hit back. Once they're hit within the target area, the bout is done. Question number 8. What is the shape of the guard on the foil? A. A crescent. B. A bowl. C. A half bowl. D. There is no guard. If you chose A, you are correct. The guard of the foil is shaped like a crescent, not a bowl or a half bowl, and it certainly has some sort of guard for the hand. Now that the quiz is done, let us hear from my guest Noelle.
As a little kid, I tried a lot of sports. I think my parents signed me up for a lot of like YMCA type stuff, and none of them really interested me. I remember I was watching the Summer Olympics. I don't remember which year, but I saw fencing and I thought it was cool, so I wanted to try.
So how long have you fenced?
I started in 5th grade, and then I had to take like a 1.5 year break because of COVID. But I kept to it until sophomore year when I moved.
Do you still do it?
No, unfortunately not. Yeah.
What did you like about it?
I think fencing is the best sport. I've done a lot of sports, but I think it's the best one. I like how it's an individual sport, so it's not like team, which is kind of, I guess it's part of just my personality, but I like that you kind of rely only on yourself, and I think it's really unique in that there's a lot of strategy necessary and a lot of thinking as you're, fencing, so it's kind of like a mental game as well.
What are some memorable experiences that you had?
I can talk about like a lot of different tournaments. I think, memorable experiences, I can't really think of any other than like I got like a good flick in a tournament once. Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest about fencing foil?
I think it's definitely like mental game, like mentality. Because especially if it's very high pressure, and since it's like just yourself, there are no teammates, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Your coach can put a lot of pressure on you. So, dealing with that and also dealing with, the complexities of fencing a new opponent in different rounds it can be tough. I think my biggest issue would be, it definitely was like not really thinking and just kind of acting like I would know like not to counterattack with this person, but I would do it anyway.
Same here.
Yeah.
Where did you fence in Syracuse?
Well, I used to live in Washington, like Washington State. And fencing was, I think fencing's more of like an East Coast sport, but where I lived, There were multiple fencing centers. My old one was Rain City Fencing Center. Yeah.
I used to do foil too. I do saber now.
Hard sometimes.
But I'm getting better.
Yeah. Why'd you switch?
Well, first of all, my former fencing coach retired. We got a new one now, and he teaches saber more than the other two.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's also good as well, so that is a relief.
Oh, okay, nice. Are there a lot of people who fence at once every month?
Yeah.
It depends on which class you fence in. In the intermediate class, there's a fair amount of people there actually. In the beginners class though, it's for little kids. If you're already like a teenager, I guess you would be in the intermediate class because of a greater learning ability.
Yeah.
And there's advanced. There's not many in advanced right now, but eventually, like hopefully, we will get some more.
Are you in advance?
Yeah.
Are you guys like rated and stuff? Cause like I know.
Well, I'm not rated. Everyone else is rated in my class, except for my brother.
Oh yeah. Cause like in Washington to like earn your ratings, you had to like participate in certain tournaments with a certain amount of other rated people, like stuff like that. But are there even like, do you have like out of 171 tournaments?
Yeah, we do. I actually am going to go to one soon, actually.
Oh, nice.
I fenced other tournaments in the past. I have gotten better each time, which is good.
That is good.
Even though I've gotten my butt kicked like almost every single time.
That's okay. Yeah. Are there like other, like who do you fence in the tournaments? It's like, are there other centers or?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of clubs out there, but an example, I would say Ludus Fencing Club in Rochester.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually have anything to do with Little
Sport?
Sport with lightsabers.
Oh, I know.
Their name is Ludus Sport, and they're actually pretty good.
Sure. But like commuting is like, it's too much. Yeah. Let me think. So would you say you like saber more than foil now?
Yeah, I've also tried epee, and I also like that too. But it really depends on the day.
Yeah.
Overall, though, they can take a long time to learn, but it can be very fun if you try doing it for a long time.
What brought you into fencing?
Well, my brother started doing fencing since he was 12. Now he's 16. I eventually decided I wanted to try fencing. I want to try that. I also got interested in it because I've watched some sword fighting movies like Zorro.
Princess's Bride, The Duelist,
I feel like fencing in movies is always inaccurate, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because I was watching, the Parent Trap, the scene where they're fencing. So incorrect. Like, not at all. I think people like to think of fencing as more like sword fighting, like Princess Bride style. When it's more like, I don't know. I mean, it's like any sport. There are a lot of rules and organization.
If someone joined, decided to do fencing, what would your advice be to them?
I think it's a really fun sport. Advice, I would say, if you want to do well and get good, you have to invest a lot of time in it. And you also have to invest a lot of money because fencing equipment is expensive. And like money,
Especially epee.
yeah, money for traveling too. But I mean, it's really fun, and I definitely think it would be worth it. I definitely miss fencing, and I plan on doing like club fencing in college.
Well, thank you for your time, Noelle.
Now that you all know more about foil and have heard about the experience of a previous foil fencer, we will be going into saber in the next episode. It has some similarities to the foil, but it has some distinguishing characteristics separating them. So that will be all for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a nice day.